Well, goodness me. I'm going to have to make some notes for this one. Well, because I'm old school and I'm not politically correct. Um, well, us trannies we were not politically correct 50 years ago when I was part of that culture. Back in the 70s and 80s, we were not trans, we were trannies. So if anybody wants to blow off steam, you can do it down in the comments. Now, the genesis of the novel goes back that far, and my co-collaborator can be seen as Supertranny herself. So, we had a lot of fun making a couple of films that can be seen somewhere else on this site. I believe one of them is called, what's it called now? When Help Came, if you want to look it up. It's a very amateurishly made film, but we did have a lot of laugh making it. I mean, when I say amateurishly made, I do mean amateurishly made. When Help Came. Yes, I think it's on this. I think it's on my site. And when I say amateurishly made, I do mean amateurishly made. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this AI rendering of the book. So it's in the hands of the gods now. Supertranny.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take that heap of complex source material you've got and try to stitch it all together into one, hopefully unforgettable story.
Coherent, too.
Huh? Yes, coherence is key. And today, well, today's narrative arc is really something else. It starts with, let's call it a cosmic sanitation mishap.
That's putting it mildly.
And it ends with the laws of physics being weaponized. So, our mission here is to map out the truly bizarre life of Supertranny.
The world's most unique hero, absolutely.
Along with her, let's say, varied family, and the big clash with her nemesis, Retep, all culminating in this event called The Lost Weekend.
And the source material we're working with, it's incredibly specific, almost dreamlike in places. It's this weird mix of sci-fi, crime, and just pure absurdity.
Right, so let's get into it. It all kicks off, as you said, way above Earth with a really bad decision.
A spectacularly bad one. The sources are very clear. An androcentric male on a commercial space flight.
Vaping, yeah.
Right. And despite the rules, big capital letters, no peeing is allowed over a planet, he decides he just has to go.
You can't make this stuff up. Okay, so cosmic rule breaking leads to...
Yeah.
What exactly? What was the immediate result?
Well, the immediate result was chemical and surprisingly targeted. Because of the vacuum and conditions up there, the liquid identified as containing forcelian acetate and stony urine molecules, whatever those are.
Right, exotic.
It's sublimated, turned into this invisible vapor cloud. And this cloud just drifted down, took about 53 minutes, and settled right over St. Neots in Cambridgeshire, specifically onto one single house.
Just one house. Incredible. And the unlucky resident was Mrs. Dark Jones, heavily pregnant, doing the dishes.
And breathing it all in through her large country nostrils, as the source puts it. Just the worst possible timing.
But her husband, Peter Handsome, bearded Peter, he kind of dodged the worst of it. How?
This is one of those details that sounds completely made up, but the sources insist. Peter Jones had this huge, drifty beard and apparently significant nose hair.
A natural filtration system.
Pretty much, yeah. According to the analysis they did later, his facial hair acted like a barrier. It stopped most of the nasty stuff, particularly the forcelian acetate, from getting to his brain, his amygdala.
So the beard saved him, chemically speaking.
Functionally, yes, saved him from the worst neurotoxic effects. But he wasn't totally unscathed.
Oh, yeah. What happened to him?
He had some pretty intense short-term symptoms, like immediately this sudden explosion of hair growth.
Where?
Nasal hair, ear hair, and bizarrely bottom hair.
Okay. Wow.
And worse than that, he became exceptionally abusive for weeks. Really out of character. There's this chilling detail where he's caught looking in a mirror, whispering to himself, "What an evil man you are."
Whoa. So even if the beer protected his brain structure, the chemical still messed with his psyche. That internal conflict.
Exactly. The sources suggest that whisper, that self-awareness of some evil quality, was the chemical finding some way in, latching onto whatever emotional center it could reach. But Dark, his wife, she got the full dose.
And it triggered labor, like, almost immediately.
Yeah, the theory is the exposure-induced labor just 90 hours later, which led to this really extraordinary birth. Quadruplets. 3 boys, 1 girl, all apparently healthy, but huge. Each baby weighed 15 pounds.
15 pounds each. That alone would be news.
Oh, absolutely. Instant media circus. But then came the scientific investigation, especially when they found those alien molecules embedded deep in the kids' amygdalas. That confirmed it wasn't just a big birth, it was a cosmic mutation event.
And this is where it gets really strange. 4 kids, same cosmic event, but they turn out completely different. Polar opposites, almost.
Wildly dissimilar, extreme temperaments, and the scientists studying them came up with this theory. Birth order. The idea was that the order they were born in dictated how much of the molecular contaminant they got and maybe how concentrated it was.
So firstborn gets 1 dose, lastborn gets the dregs, kind of.
Sort of like that, yeah. Firstborn, maybe a less concentrated or more stabilized version. Lastborn gets the most potent, most toxic residue, and it shaped them entirely differently.
Okay, let's break them down. Firstborn, Supertranny, our hero.
Right. She developed this really soft, happy personality as a kid, which, maybe because of the molecules messing with hormones, often confused people about her sex. But crucially, unlike the others, her changes were mostly physical power and a strong moral compass.
How early did the powers show up?
By age 9, she was already showing incredible strength, endurance, vitality, and this really early, deep sense of compassion. Her path was just immediately heroic. Benevolent.
A lucky roll of the chemical dice, maybe. But then number 2.
Albert.
Known as the bloodthirsty one. Complete opposite. Tall kid, obsessed with war, death, blood.
Yikes.
Yeah. His main thing as a child was killing animals.
Yeah.
Any animal that moved. He grew up, according to local papers, into a vicious bastard.
Charming. What happened to him? Did he stay that way?
He leaned into it, joined the army, rose to Major Golightly, got discharged after some incident involving an orderly shooting him. Probably his temper flared up.
But later, there's this weird twist. Supertranny, apparently out of some kind of family duty, helped him out somehow. Reluctantly. And his aggression just seemed to fizzle out. He took up golf.
Golf, from vicious bastard to golfer.
The ultimate anticlimax, right? Maybe even cosmic contaminants get bored. Shows how volatile the chemistry was.
Okay, so that's Albert. Who's third?
Third was Crapella, or Cindy Jane, the only girl. Her darkness was more intellectual, controlled.
He had that fascination with death, right? But especially death.
Exactly. Grew up described as smug, pompous, condescending, really arrogant, even by age 6. Gravitated immediately to the goth look tight, black Victorian clothes.
So how did she channel it? You said she channeled it.
Yeah, this is what's unique about her. She turned that dark obsession and need for control into a career. Became a successful film director.
Making what kind of films?
Stygian, gloomy stuff. But always wrapped in this veneer of rigid morality. It let her dissect the world from this sort of superior viewpoint, and make money doing it. Later, she actually opened a goth undertaking business, formalized the obsession.
Wow. Monetizing the abyss. That's impressive, in a way.
Okay, that leaves the last-born Gerald.
Gerald didn't grow as tall. He's the real mystery and the real terror of the family. If the birth order theory holds, he got the most concentrated toxic dose.
And the reports on him are guarded.
Extremely. Labeled for research only. The descriptions are just stark, nauseating, murderous, vile. It's universally agreed his mind is not a pleasant place to dwell.
So he's contained.
Permanently monitored, never released, never will be. He's the absolute dark end of the spectrum from that accident. Pure malevolence compared to Supertranny's benevolence.
You can absolutely see why this family became a media storm. The behavioral problems alone. Oh, it was chaos. The parents had to rely completely on specialists, psychologists, behavioral therapists, eventually even military types just to manage things. The family basically became this ongoing public experiment in cosmic mutation.
Which makes Supertranny's emergence as this focused hero even more remarkable. Yeah. Let's shift to her. Her powers, beyond just strength.
Immense physical abilities, yeah. Strength, stamina, endurance were just the basics. Super hearing, too. And she could hold her breath for an incredibly long time.
That came up in the submarine rescue, right? Near the Titanic.
Exactly. The seaweed. She rescued it, apparently just shrugging off the crush depth pressure that should have flattened her.
But it wasn't just fixed abilities, was it?
Yeah.
The sources say her body adapted.
That's the key thing. Her body essence isn't fixed. It changes based on the need. Like when she flies, she becomes almost weightless, suggesting some fundamental change in mass, not just propulsion. Extreme pressure, temperature. Her body just adapts instantly.
Driven by willpower?
Willpower and the specific need of the situation, yeah. It's like her genetics are rewriting themselves on the fly, fueled by her drive to help.
A biological reflection of her purpose.
Okay.
Her identity. Secret, mostly. Only her wife, Xena Pyringle, and 2 others know.
Right. And Xena's her official biographer, which gives us this amazing inside look.
How did they meet? Xena tells the story.
Yeah, Xena recounted it. Very dramatic, very Supertranny. Xena was on a ship, a bark, being harassed by a drunk captain.
And Supertranny just shows up.
Swims out, scales the side of the ship, and then, this is the best part, lassos the whiskey bottle right out of the captain's hand with a piece of seaweed.
With seaweed, seriously.
That's brilliant.
Tossed the captain overboard after the bottle, apparently. Xena was instantly captivated by the mix of strength and theatrical flair.
Makes sense. Okay, her home life. The flat on the Isle of Dogs. It sounds less like a home, more like a warehouse. It's described as one giant wardrobe, basically. The entire vast top-floor flat. They supposedly have more clothes and shoes than all 80 families living below them combined. Makes getting around tricky, apparently. Difficult, and often a little dusty.
Living in a clothing mountain. Yet she has this strict public decorum thing. Prefers her bike.
Her bright red bike, yeah, or the stairs. Flying past people's windows, she thinks, is too rude and unseemly.
Like, what if they're having tea?
Exactly. She worries about stuff like that, sees the bike and stares as exercise and respect for the community. Plus, Xena apparently hinted some costumes were getting a bit tight, so she made a super commitment to more cycling.
Even superheroes need cardio. Let's talk specific acts. The healing incident. The one with the acronym.
Ah, yes. Mary Bell Button. Hyperactive woman crushed her toes under a carton of falling Heinz baked beans cans.
Ouch.
Supertranny shows up, heals the toes, and somehow stabilizes Maribel's entire system using a technique called TITS.
Which stands for, remind us.
Tranny's immediate transfer of sexuality.
Right. And the effect was startling.
Astonishing. Maribel, who usually talked incredibly fast and loud, starts ranting. But Supertranny's presence creates this calming field. By the end, her voice is described as gentle and sexy as a kitten, and her toes are fine. It seems to be this holistic energy transfer, fixing physical and even sonic issues.
That stabilizing effect. Yeah. It connects to her attempt to break physics, right? To save that little girl.
Yeah, the girl named Beyonce, hit by a speeding motorcyclist right near her. Supertranny was devastated, raced to a nearby cyclotron facility.
A particle accelerator.
Yeah. Tried to use it to turn back time by just 2 minutes to save the girl.
Did it work?
No. Complete failure. Crushed her. She was reportedly just deflated afterwards, said, "Why do I bother?" It shows her limits, but also her incredible compassion. No loss is too small to try and reverse.
And finally, her work with the transvestite community. She became a champion for them.
Absolutely. They're accepted champion. They're linked to the wider world. She spent a lot of time doing educational theater skits with friends Joan, Sarah, Kim.
Teaching them what?
How to spot and avoid the tranny fancier.
Who sounds like a real predator.
Described as a monster preying on the lonely and innocent, using worthless charm like a weapon and inferior perfume to trap them through neediness and steal their soul.
Heavy stuff. How did she teach them to fight back?
Direct confrontation, or her darkly humorous suggestion, insists the fancier buy them a meal immediately. Apparently, that was like wielding a silver bullet. Effective deterrent.
It all comes back to this drive to help, to protect. But she's vulnerable, too. Easily hurt.
Deeply. That time, a drunken transsexual rejected her help at a club. It apparently left her miserable. Her powers are immense, but her emotional core is very human. That vulnerability makes her the perfect foil for, well, for Retep.
Let's pivot to him, Retep. The sources paint him as a monster who became a man. Sort of. He didn't just adapt, he rebuilt himself.
His origins are grim. Emerged in 1930s Europe, fleeing famine. Physically grotesque, rough skin, big blue ears, and that infamous smell.
Shredded wheat and sour milk.
Yeah. Didn't grasp how monstrous he looked until he saw his reflection in a glacier. A her view, the source says, a true monster. And that sight just triggered this cold decision: adapt and conquer the human world.
And his adaptation was cunning, using the Nazis as a cover story.
Brilliant deception. Surrendered to British soldiers, claimed he was a victim of Nazi experiments, got him access to military hospitals, specifically one in Kent, over 4 years, more than 20 surgeries.
Tail removed.
Tail removed, horn roots gone, eyes and ears adjusted, a total physical overhaul to look superficially human.
But while recovering, he wasn't just healing. He was studying.
Oh yeah, total intellectual transformation too. Physics, math, law, languages. He devoured knowledge like a predator, all focused on one goal: acquiring wealth and power. Felt the world owed him.
His first big move, the Orpington estate. Lady Grass forced him. This wasn't impulsive.
Pure calculation. Got hired as a gardener, spent 17 years patiently learning everything about her weaknesses, routines, finances. Then, when the moment was right, waited for staff to be away, killed her maid, her solicitor.
And the cover story was elaborate.
Insanely elaborate. To mask the murders, he blackmailed a zoo manager, got a pack of 30 hungry wolves.
30 wolves.
Released them on the estate, let them run wild for 3 weeks, causing panic across the counties.
Creating chaos to cover his tracks.
Exactly. Wolves ate chickens, fox cubs, cost the counties over £1 million. Meanwhile, Retep produced a fake will, inherited the estate. First act: cruelly evicted all the long-serving staff. Just pure, pitiless power play.
So he gets the money, moves to London, builds a criminal empire.
Controls everything illegal within 300 miles, but his ultimate power move was his headquarters.
Right under Downing Street.
The sheer nerve. Got old blueprints, found abandoned cellars beneath the known ones at number 10, built this massive 27.8 million bunker 8 meters below the official cellars. His den right under the government he despised.
That construction must have been complex and dangerous.
Lethal. Connected by tunnels to the Circle Line tube, a builder's yard. Took 4 years. 42 workers died.
Died how?
38 killed accidents, executions for secrecy, and 4. The sources specifically say Retep ate 4 of them.
Eaten. Okay, it says it all. And inside this bunker, he built his weapon for the lost weekend. The 100 billion ransom demand.
Unprecedented scale. The machine was called the Box of Light, a chemical reactor, duplicator, powered by twin 20 kW generators deep underground.
And the delivery system.
A special cable, ytterbium sheathed, running up to the lightning rod on Big Ben.
Ytterbium, why that? And why Big Ben?
Ytterbium has unique optical properties probably needed for the energy transmission. Big Ben. Well, it's the perfect central point, geographically and symbolically, for broadcasting the effect over the target zone.
And the effect wasn't an explosion, it was weaponized physics, manipulating light speed.
Exactly. His genius, his monstrosity, was figuring out how to drastically slow the speed of light within a 500-mile sphere around Westminster. But, and this is crucial, the speed of sound was totally unaffected.
Creating instant sensory hell. The visual disorientation must have been crippling.
Devastating. Light crawls, so you see things where they used to be minutes ago. Wave your hand, you see the ghost image where it started. Try to touch a table. Your hand goes right through the image because the real table has moved on.
Total paralysis through confusion.
Absolutely. And it wasn't even uniform. It got worse the closer you were to Big Ben. Followed the inverse square law.
How much worse? Give us the examples again.
Okay, like in Archway, light slowed to 8 seconds per meter. Trafalgar Square, 20 seconds per meter. Right under Big Ben. Maximal effect. Light was basically frozen. Moving at the speed your hair grows. People near the tower were watching themselves move in agonizing slow motion.
That alone is terrifying. But the sources say the redshift was the real horror. Explain that again.
This is the core of it. Physics 101 kind of twisted. When light slows down, its frequency drops.
Right, color is frequency.
Exactly. So as light speed plummeted, the frequency dropped below the visible spectrum. Red, orange, yellow, gone. Replaced by infrared, microwaves, radio waves.
So people started seeing invisible energy.
Pretty much. Seeing things usually outside our perception. That's where the hallucinations came from, the waving goo from power lines, friction points. Your eyes are feeding you data your brain can't process as normal reality. Caused mass nausea, disorientation, visual insanity.
And the infrastructure. Dead instantly.
Instantly. Anything using electromagnetic waves, phones, radio, GPS, X-ray machines failed. Their frequencies were scrambled, lowered, useless. Power grids failed because the electrical circuits were disrupted. Total system collapse.
The human cost in those first few hours.
Horrific. Estimates were 180,000 dead panic, accidents from the visual lag, system failures, over 20 million casualties. The psychological trauma, immeasurable.
And Supertranny, our powerhouse hero.
Completely useless. Paralyzed like everyone else. Her powers rely on normal physics, normal light speed. She was nauseous, confused, watching her own limbs lag. Had to use her speed just to escape the sphere. Flew 500 miles into space to clear her head. The ultimate symbol of hope, totally neutralized.
So the first attack ends. She's beaten, humiliated, tells the government to just pay the ransom.
Yeah, she was done. Felt defeated by the sheer scale of it. 180,000 dead, billions in costs. The government didn't respect her anyway, she felt. She flew off to Kasti in Sudan. Picked it specifically because there were no phone masts nearby. Wanted total isolation.
While she's hiding, Retep grabs her sister, Crapella. Leverage.
That was the assumption. Though the sources say he'd been faking a romance with Crapella for months, playing on her dark side. Lured her to the bunker on New Year's Eve. She was mostly shielded down there, slept through a lot of the first attack. But yeah, keeping her seemed like the ultimate psychological ace up his sleeve.
So things look bleak. Supertranny's out. Retep has Crapella. But then the blind friend enters the picture.
James John Wicker. Born blind, but had this inner sight. A perception completely independent of visible light frequencies, so Retep's weapon didn't affect him at all.
The one person immune.
Exactly. And he starts having these intense nightmares about the chaos, which he somehow connects to Supertranny's depression out in Sudan. He reaches out, offers to be her eyes.
The perfect partnership. He can perceive reality. She has the power to act.
It was the key. She flies back, relying totally on James's guidance through the chaos of the second attack, keeping her own eyes shut, mostly.
How did they find the bunker?
As the second attack started, Supertranny noticed something James couldn't, Brent. The visual effect, that ugly green light, started from the ground up, meaning the source was subterranean. She just started digging. Incredible speed and force, punched right through the erbium tube shielding the cable, and her super hearing picked up two sounds immediately. The roar of the generators and Crapella's screams. Found it!
The confrontation happens down there. Retep, Crapella, and Retep has a personal shield.
Yeah, a portable field device on his wrist, keeping a small bubble of normal space-time around them. He's gloating, naturally. Admits he did it all for Supertranny to punish her virtue.
And the fight ends awkwardly.
Not with a super punch, no. Retep's monologuing, fiddling with his wrist device. James, guided by Supertranny's position relative to Retep, makes a lunge, grabs Retep's ankle.
Trips him.
Trips the monster. Retep falls, still inside his protective bubble, right into an open sewer access leading down to the Thames. Splash.
Device goes off, light speed restored, heroes rescued. And the government says,
Conveniently concludes it was all on a timer. Retep drowned, plan failed, case closed, move on.
But that wasn't the end of it. There's a coda. A junior scientist finds something.
Mr. Leonard Habby, back in St. Nietz at New Oaks Works, analyzing the destroyed timing board from the machine with a high-powered microscope.
And he finds
components that could only be for receiving radio signals.
Radio signals. Why is that significant?
Because the explosion that wrecked the machine happened after the light slowing effect was turned off. If the field had still been active, any radio signal being electromagnetic would have been slowed, frequency shifted, totally useless. It couldn't have reached the detonator underground.
Meaning, Retep had to be outside the sphere of influence, alive, to send the signal after the light speed returned to normal.
Exactly. He survived the fall into the Thames, got clear, and remotely blew up his own machine to destroy the evidence. Then vanished.
And his motive for grabbing Crapella is still murky.
Still unclear. Simple leverage seems inadequate somehow. But the main point, the official report was wrong. Retep is still out there.
So he went from cosmic urine, creating a family of heroes and monsters,
to one of those monsters weaponizing the speed of light.
demanding 100 billion pounds.
Only to be stopped by the trust between a superhero and her blind friend, whose unique perception was the one thing the physics couldn't touch. James's role was crucial. Supertranny's ability to inspire that trust was maybe her greatest power.
It's an absolutely wild ride. But it leaves us with this deeply unsettling fact. Retep, the villain who could manipulate a fundamental constant of the universe, is still active, still plotting.
Which brings us to that final provocative thought for you listening right now. Retep mastered slowing light. He held a nation hostage with it.
What could possibly be next for a creature like that?
If slowing light proved ultimately insufficient, what other fundamental aspect of reality might he target? What happens if Retep decides light was too limiting and sets his sights on time itself?
Could the Lost Weekend just be a practice run for a temporal catastrophe? A truly chilling thought to end on. Thank you for guiding us through this labyrinth.
It was certainly something. A bizarre journey indeed.
And thanks to all of you for joining us on the deep dive. We'll see you next time.